Hey guys, we are going to read two stories. One of them is going to be an informational text or nonfiction, so it's just going to give us real information. And then we're going to read a fun fictional story that takes place in the habitat we're learning about. So we are going to be learning about the desert habitat, okay? So I borrowed this book from our school library, so you might be able to check it out next year. It's kind of cool. I like it. And there's a bunch of them from a bunch of different topics, like what is thunder, I can't remember what are stars. So you can check those out next year in our school library. All right, this one is called What is a Desert? So the two stories we're going to listen to today are going to help you learn more about the desert habitat, okay? What is a desert? He says, hi, my name is Christopher. It sure is hot here. What do you call this place? It's a desert. A desert? What's a desert? Why, that's easy. Let me tell you. First of all, you said it was hot, and you're right. No clouds are in the sky, so the rays of the sun are very strong. The sun makes the desert land very hot. Very, very hot. Look, he's sitting on a pillow on a cactus. A desert is dry too. It does not rain often. Some deserts go for years without rain. Then a heavy rainstorm brings a lot of water in a very short time. Little worm down here says we can use the rain. So a desert can go years without getting rain, which is probably why we don't see a lot of grass. We just see a few plants here and there. And when they do get rain, it comes down really heavy for a short amount of time. A desert is windy. The sun heats the air and causes the air to move. The air moves so fast that it becomes a strong wind. Oh, yep, our West Texas dirt storms. Looks like Midland in the spring, right? Look at all the dirt flying in the air, and then we have tumbleweeds going by. The desert is covered with sand. The wind blows the sand into hills or ridges called sand dunes. Look at all this sand. Remember when we learned about soil, we talked about sand is not a very good soil for growing crops. So that and the lack of rain and the super hot sun are all reasons why we don't have very many plants in a desert. The plants that are there have adapted to being able to live through those conditions. In some deserts, there are flat-topped mountains and smaller hills. We got a lizard. Interesting shapes. Rainstorms make gullies in the hills as the water runs down the steep slopes. Soil washed down with the water forms fan-shaped ridges at the bottom. So a lot of the shapes that you're seeing in the desert is caused from those heavy downpours of rain that happen every once in a while. Plants grow in the desert. Do you know what these are? So here's some of the plants you can find in the desert. Right, that's a cactus with the bird peeking out. From this palm tree, so here's a palm tree, I can see a sagebrush. Or sagebrush. Forgot my R. That tree is a Joshua tree. Next to it is a young yucca plant growing straight up. There are beautiful desert flowers too, like these cactus flowers. Animals live in the desert. You know, some of these animals, there's a coyote with her pups and a herd of tiny mule deer. So see the mule deer down there? So here's some of the animals you can find in the desert, coyotes and mule deer. Not to mention him, he's a rabbit, right? Mice, snakes, owls, birds, scorpions, and even turtles live in the desert. Little lizard said, I know him. Hi, Christopher. So here's some of our desert animals. Deserts can be found in many places in the world. Look at the red areas on the map. There are many deserts. So up here is North America. Pretty much right there in that red part right there, that's Midland, Texas. Yep, we're in a desert, guys. Down here, there's some deserts in South America. Our next story is going to take place in this desert over here in Africa. You can even find this animal in some faraway deserts. Name this animal. It's a camel. He says, I'm thirsty. So we don't have camels in our desert, but they are in other continents in the world, in their deserts. Most of all, remember, a desert is hot. It is dry and windy and has lots of sand, and many special plants and animals live there. And now I know what a desert is. We do too. All right, so the next story we're going to read is a fictional story that takes place in a desert habitat, the one that I was just showing you in Africa, in South Africa. It is a Jan Brett story. I want to move my coffee cup. It's called The Three Little Dassies. I've been trying to work on the way to make sure I say these words correct. The Three Little Dassies. Aren't they cute? They remind me of our prairie dogs. These Dassies live in the rocks in a desert in South Africa. And it is, remember, she likes to tell her stories with her pictures too. So make sure you're looking at the pictures on the side to help you know what's about to happen. Hot, hot, hot. The three little Dassies were almost grown up, and it was time for them to find their own place. Mimby, Pimby, and Timby waved goodbye to Mommy, Daddy, aunties, uncles, and all their cousins and set out for the distant mountain. Come and visit us, they shouted. A place cooler, a place less crowded, a place safe from big eagles. So I already know what their predator is, right? Eagles probably like to eat Dassies. So they are, they're loading up on their turtle to leave. The sisters traveled all day and all night across the Namib Desert, arriving at the foot of the mountain. The next morning, this is where we will live, they agreed excitedly. Welcome, a squeaky voice called out from the tree. It came from a handsome, smiling Agama man. Here he is. It's like a type of lizard. No one has lived here for a long, long time, just me and a family of eagles up on the mountain. Eagles? The three little Dassies shivered in the hot, hot sun. That's what they were trying to get away from, right? We can tell this is a desert, huh? We've got our cactuses and lots of rocks, not much grass going on, and it's super hot, hot, hot. Agama man, he's sitting there watching her build. Where would they build their houses? Mimby eyed the long grasses. These grasses will make a lovely cool house, she said, and she set to work cutting, twisting, braiding, and bundling. She finished in no time. Be near and dear, sisters, she said, crawling inside for her nap. So that must be her way of saying good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Then we can see the other sister. What is she gathering? It's like sticks. Pimby spotted pieces of driftwood, silver from the sun, laying in the sand of the dry riverbed. These will make a fine wooden house, she said, and she set about collecting as many pieces as she could find. Oh no, I think the eagle has spotted them. Look, baby eagles. When it was finished, she hung up a hammock and called out, "Be near and dear, sisters, while I rest my eyes." Timby looked at the rocks around their mountain. I will make a stone house, she said, but it won't be as easy to build as one made of grasses or sticks. So she's making one out of stone. Even her sisters seemed to build houses that were pretty easy. Hers is going to be more difficult. I am having a connection to another story. Ooh, what story does this remind you of? Uh-oh, here comes the eagle. And it wasn't. She had to work all day in the hot sun to get it finished in time to sleep in it that night. Agama man had been watching them. He was happy they were staying on. He had missed having company. So this Agama man is super excited to have company where he lives. So he's glad they're going to go ahead and stay, even though he told them about the eagle. The three little Dassies slept late into the morning as the sun rose higher and higher in the sky. The big old eagle who lived up on the mountain stretched his wings and flew down to look for a meal for his hungry chicks. Mimby woke up early and went outside. Suddenly, a long, winged shadow passed over her. "The eagle!" she cried, and hurried back into her grass house. Uh-oh, he's watching what's going on. He's worried about her too. He's still watching. Oh no. "I see you, Dassie," the eagle screeched and swooped down. "I'll flap and I'll clap and I'll blow your house in." Guys, if you don't already know what story I'm thinking about, you should know now. He squawked, beating the air with his wings until the grass roof sailed off. The eagle grabbed Mimby and lifted her up, up, up to his nest. Oh no. Got her. Oh, look, there she is in the nest with the eagle chicks. But the eagle was greedy. No sooner had he dropped Mimby into the nest than he spotted Pimby in front of her stick house far below. 2 Dassies would be double delicious, he thought, and down he went, feathers flying. Pimby looked up and saw him coming. She turned and ran back inside. So hopefully y'all know by now that this story is a lot like the Three Little Pigs. Now, remember the little pig built his house of straw, which is like the grass house. The other one built their house of sticks. And I know what happened to that little pig, so I know what's going to happen to Miss Pimby too. Aww. The eagle landed and screeched. "I'll flap and I'll clap and I'll blow your house in," he squawked. Twigs flew, sticks rattled until Pimby's stick house fell apart. Then, just like Mimby, she felt herself being lifted high in the sky and plunked down in the eagle's nest. Remember, Agama Man was so excited to have company, and now he's watching in horror as they're being caught by this eagle. Oh, look, there's the little turtle. Here she goes, being flown away. Timby looked out to call her sisters to come for a breakfast of tasty seed porridge, but instead of a grass house and a stick house, she saw a long shadow streaking across the rocks. "I see you, Dassie. Here I come." Oh no, look what Agama Man's doing. It looks like he's climbing up something. Oh no, and there's her sister sitting in that nest. Oh look, Agama Man. The eagle landed and shrieked, "I'll flap and I'll clap and I'll blow your house in." He flapped and clapped and beat his wings. Dust and sand blew everywhere, but the stone house didn't move. He tried again, flapping and clapping even harder. Dust and sand got in his eyes, but the stone house didn't budge. Oh, look, Agama Man's helping him get down. Thank goodness, I was worried about him. When the dust settled, the stone house was still standing, but the eagle was coughing and sneezing. His wing feathers were bent and broken, and he was missing tail feathers. Knowing when to quit, he hopped his way to his nest. At least he had 2 Dassies waiting for his dinner. Uh-oh, look. I can already tell this eagle is going to be pretty upset when he gets home. Not only is he tired from trying to blow down that stone house, but he wants to go home and eat, and now his food has left. Oh, look, there's the turtle still. Look, here they are flying down. They're using their skirts as little parachutes. Oh, yep, he's mad. The eagle reached his nest, but the Dassies were gone. He looked down and saw them at the bottom of the mountain, heading for the stone house. It was his last chance. He streaked down towards the open chimney. He's their little hero, huh? Here's the chimney. Got smoke coming out of it. And her stone house. Inside, the three sisters hugged each other. "There's nothing like a stone house when there are eagles abundant," they cried. Just then the eagle tumbled down the chimney. "I'll flap and I'll clap and I'll—" A hot blast from the fire hit him. "Fly home for a nap," he squealed. As fast as he could, he squeezed back up the chimney and flew home, all black and singed from the smoky fire. And Mimby, Pimby, and Timby never saw so much as a tail feather of that eagle ever again. So he was white, and now after being in that chimney, he's scorched, he's black. Oh, here comes your family, it looks like, maybe. Mommy, Daddy, aunties, uncles, and all of their cousins, and Agama Man too, had come to celebrate. "Welcome," the sisters cried, "to a place cooler, to a place less crowded, to a place safe from eagles." And here's what these animals look like in their real habitat. They're not going to wear all those clothes. So we see the Dassies, the Agama Man, and there's that eagle up there. And if you travel to Namibia today, you will see Dassies living in stone houses with handsome Agama men looking out for them. As for the pesky eagles, they are easily spotted, for their feathers are as black as soot. Super cute. I love Jan Brett's stories. Maybe while you were listening to the story, you might have noticed Hedgie. I can never find him. Remember, Hedgie is the hedgehog that she hides somewhere in all of her stories. All right, I hope you learned, got a lot of information about the desert to help you with your project.